What's up, everybody? Your boy Joaquin Loper again. Man, good to see everybody. Man, as always, I'm with my beautiful, beautiful wife, Stacy Loper.
Hey, y'all.
And we are blended and winning.
And so are you.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Look, this week we're excited, man. This is going to start somewhat of a series, man. God has spoke to us and really just told us to get back to the basics of talking about marriage. And what do I mean by marriage? The different types of marriage. And the blended marriage.
Yeah.
That's going to speak to a lot of people and encourage a lot of people. So without further ado, man, let's get into this. And today we're touching on a subject that people don't want to talk about, but it's reality.
Yes, it's definitely reality for so many of us, and we don't want to deal with it immediately or in that moment, but we have to deal with it at some point in our lives. And sometimes it can be tough, and we're talking about divorce here. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about divorce, and we don't use the D word in our marriage simply because we know that's not an option.
Yes.
But I'm going to be honest with you all. I mean, years ago when I was married, my first time and my second time, the D word was definitely an option in those, and that's what has brought us here. That's what has gotten me to this point to where I'm sitting here with him, blending our family together, blending our kids, where I walked into this marriage with 2 kids, and then we had 2 kids of our own. So that's where we're coming from today, and we're going to get real and uncut, and you all are going to learn a lot about me and what I've been through, you know, being married twice before and on my 3rd marriage now of 11 years for me. Yes. But I want to start it out with this song that truly, truly speaks to my heart when it comes to marriage. And the reason it speaks to my heart is because I overcame what divorce did to me. I was able to bounce back from what divorce did to me and what divorce did to my children. So I want you to listen to the first part, but I'm going to play this song throughout the entire session here. So I really want you to just listen to the very first part of this song.
Shattered like you've never been before. The life you knew in 1,000 pieces on the floor. And words fall short in times like these, when this world drives you to your knees. You think you're never gonna get back to the you they used to be. Tell your heart to beat again.
And that's what I want to encourage everyone listening to this series. And you're thinking about what you went through in your divorce. Tell your heart to beat again, because this isn't the end for you. My second divorce was very traumatic. It was very ugly. It wasn't pleasing to me, to him, or to our kids. And to be honest with you, emotionally, I struggled because what I wanted my marriage to look like, that's not what my marriage was. I wasn't the woman or the wife that I am today. He wasn't the husband that I needed him to be. And then he wasn't the father that I needed for my child to have going through that divorce with him. Am I speaking ill toward him? No, I'm not. But this is what divorce did to me. I can only speak for what I experienced in my divorce, especially my second divorce, because my first divorce, my marriage was not for an extended amount of time. I didn't have an opportunity to truly get to know him, to truly get to love him and things of that nature, because I was very young when I first got married. And I married for reasons that didn't even have anything to do with me, to be honest with you. So it wasn't difficult for me leaving that marriage as it was for me leaving my second marriage, because I wanted it so much to work, because I wanted my children to know what family was. And what I experienced in that marriage wasn't what I expected and wanted for my family. But I have to be honest with you. Oh my God, I grew so much from it. I grew so much from the hurt, from the emotional turmoil that I experienced in that marriage, and from that divorce. Oh my God, I received so much from that. simply because God was teaching me a lesson, and God wanted to show me that I needed to wait exactly for what it was he had for me. And this is what he had for me. And I am very, very emotional, and I'm very, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm very strong about how I feel about marriages now, because I've had an opportunity to do it over again and to do it right. And doing it right, doing it God's way. I'm going to be honest with you. Our marriage was not always what it is now. We struggled our first 4 years to the point to where, yes, divorce was, possibly an option for us that second year, because of some choices that I made, some healing that I needed to go through, and some things that I truly needed to walk through, some grief that I had completely not let go, and I couldn't hold him accountable for that. But I'm going to tell you, men and women, you can tell your heart to beat again. You can also let your heart know that it's okay to love that man or love that woman differently from the way you loved the last one.
Yes.
They cannot be held accountable for that. And it's just not fair. It's not fair to you as an individual, and it's not fair for the kids if there are any involved.
Yes. I've never been divorced. This is my first marriage. But I can speak on being a child in the divorce.
Yeah.
Because my parents were divorced after 20 odd years. But that's a subject for another day. We're going to stick on the divorce and getting remarried and being a blended family in the multiple ways that you can be a blended family, because we're still from two different households, two different dynamics of being raised, how we rear our kids, how we do things in the house, who's the head. Some families are wrong that the mother is the person who makes all the decisions, X, Y, Z. But for us in our house, we're a blended family, and it goes God, husband, wife, kids.
Yes,
That's
but when you
order.
talk about divorce and my husband coming in, because we are truly hitting on divorce today, yes, what we stand for from a blended family, it stems from that. It stems from the fact that I was divorced and I brought children into this relationship, into this marriage, and my husband had to learn how to father them because their father was not in the home. And coming from a divorce, from a custodial standpoint, because my ex-husband is the non-custodial parent, how do you even make that work with a new dad coming into the picture? It's doable, people.
It's doable.
You can do it. You can make those relationships what they need to be for the sake of the children. I don't have to like my ex-husband. My ex-husband does not have to like me. But we have a child that we have to raise together. And we have a child that we raise along with me being married to this man right here. And it's doable. They have a great relationship. I even have a decent relationship with my ex-husband. And we have that relationship because we have a child together. So it's not about, you have to have these heads butting all the time. No, establish what that relationship or what that marriage and what the rearing of those children looks like. And make sure that you are maintaining your home, that you and your husband or you and your wife, whoever is bringing the kids into it, have that understanding that, okay, we will communicate. But in our home, we make the decisions. They don't make the decisions in our home. They make the decisions on how to discipline the child when the child is with them. Okay? And so all of these things have to be established. Communication-wise, who do they communicate with? Do they communicate with me because we are the parents? Or do they communicate with the parent coming into the home or coming into the relationship? What does that look like? My ex-husband and my husband, Joaquin, they communicate with each other because they can better communicate with each other than what my ex-husband and I can. And that's established. Yeah. So it's all about how to maintain the relationship and still make the relationship what it needs to be to have a blended and winning family. To have a blended and winning relationship between those co-parents and those non-custodial parents when they aren't in the home. And what it looks like to make sure that you bring them into every situation that has to do with their child.
Mm-hmm. And for me, I'm going to be honest with you. Being a young male, no kids, my wife was not the ideal woman that I was looking to marry because of the kids and the previous marriage. I didn't know what that was going to really looked like, but I knew that I said this was my wife. I didn't want to admit that in the beginning, but it was. And one thing it did, it helped me grow up quickly. But it showed me so many strengths that I had that I didn't know I had.
Yeah.
It helped me stand in the gap when she needed. One thing I will encourage everyone to do, if you have been divorced, been through a divorce, man, truly talk to someone and let them know how you're truly feeling. Because when you say, I'm over it, and you're not truly over it, it's going to come out on the next person you marry, whether you know it or not. And those are a lot of things I had to deal with, but I'm so glad that God actually had me prepared and had shown me through life experiences and through things he was telling me where a lot of the hostility in the beginning was coming from. It wasn't coming from her per se, it was just past experience, what she wasn't going to go through, what she wasn't going to go through, which was cool with me because we both had non-negotiables.
Right.
And my thing is, I learned and I worked on loving our daughters the same way I love my wife even before we got married.
Yes.
Different. It's going to be different because my type of rearing and my type of discipline totally different than hers.
Yes.
So there were some battles between us that we had to work out. But once again, it's doable. You can't just say if they don't want to compromise or the next person don't want to get into what you feel that they should be doing, that it's over. No, it's not over. You have to work through things.
Yes.
And
you're
not
not
things and work together.
Yeah, and you're not gonna always agree with, what style works better. You have to come together as a unit and say, okay, this is the way we need to do it. This is what works for our kids. This is what works for us to make sure that there's no hostility between the two when it comes to rearing the children.
And another thing, when one party shows that there are some not some easy things to talk about, you need to know, the other party needs to know where those feelings are coming from. Why do you feel this way? What happened in your past? Whether it's from a previous marriage or previous, or you growing up.
Yeah. Why
don't you like this? Why is it that this bothers you so much? And be honest with that person. Because that way they can see, okay, this is why she feels that way.
Yes, and I'm telling you, it makes the other person love you so much better because they know those spots that can be hit that you're like, you know what, that's a place that I don't want to go with you because that's not how I love you. You gotta have those critical conversations because it is in the critical conversations that you begin to grow, that you begin to make your marriage exactly what it needs to be for you and your spouse.
Yes.
Divorce can be very, very difficult, and it can be so hard to allow your heart to get back to that place it needs to be for that person. But it's possible. It's doable.
And if there's anyone out here watching this video right now, that you may be in the idea that marriage is not for you, or you're in a marriage and divorce has been a topic, we want to encourage you. Don't do it so quick, man. Truly seek the help you need. Explore things that you haven't explored yet, and just don't give up on each other. Don't give up on God. Don't give up on the process.
Yeah.
It's workable, but you have to be able to die to yourself.
Yeah.
And with us, man, it was just we both brought things into the marriage that just weren't healthy for the marriage. And a lot of it did come from the previous divorce. I could understand where some of the things was coming from. Even though I had not been married, I could see the pain. I could hear the hurt in her voice. So I had to say, hey, okay, what can we do to get past this? And counseling was one of the biggest things we did. Because counseling showed her a lot of the places that she had not healed from yet. Yes,
and it showed me places that I didn't want to revisit. I don't want to have to revisit in this marriage what I experienced in that marriage. I'm just not, because I know what my expectation was. I know what I bring to the table. So I had to sit down and have that conversation with him and say, you know what, this is not what it's going to be. It's just not. And he had to understand. I'm telling you, I came with a lot of stuff built up that I had not dealt with. And I believe had I not dealt with it and had I not seeked God to truly change me and help me to deal with the situations, because the situations were going to be there. They were there. I had to not ask him to change the situation, but to change me so that I could do better in handling and reacting to those situations. And that helped our marriage so much. It was a yielding that had to take place. And when it took place, I could see and I could feel the transformation that was happening in me, you know, as a divorcee. I'm serious. It's not easy. It is not a good place to be. It can be very dark, but you can tell your heart to beat again. You can ask God to do whatever it is he needs to do in you to get you out of that place.
And another thing, I had to learn how to love my wife on those stages. I know what I expect out of her, but I understand that she was going through some things. So I had to love her where she was. And I had to show her and understand, show her that I understood that you have a past. So do I. So I had to love her for where she was coming from.
Yeah.
I couldn't throw things in her face that she had went through. There's things that she confided in me and talked to me about as her husband, as her protector, as her source of covering. I couldn't just use those to throw things in her face and say, well, you know, this is this. No. I had to love her from where she came from and understand everything that was in her past, even though it had nothing to do with me, it still had something to do with me once she was married.
Yep. Exactly. And so you can't run away from that because you're bringing them into this thing that created you and who you are and what you have become. You got to deal with it. You have to.
So,
and we hope this has encouraged you today. We hope that this has given you the courage to allow your heart to beat again in a different kind of way, you know, and I just want to truly let this play.
So look, this song is by an artist named Danny Goki, and it's titled "Tell Your Heart to Beat Again." And that's what a lot of us have to do out there. Whether you're in a marriage and it's not the perfect marriage, or whether you've been through a divorce, tell your heart to beat again. It's up to you. You have the ability to hold on to this stuff or let it go. And holding on to it is not good for you. It's not healthy for you. So let it go. Learn from it and allow God to help you be the person that He wants you to be and that you're growing to be.
Yes.
And unfortunately, some of the things that happen to us are not what we expect in life, but it can help us grow in life.
Yes.
So we want to just come to you and tell you that we love you.
Yes.
We encourage you. Like I said, if it's not an ideal marriage for you, you can make it.
Yeah.
But it takes some internal rearranging, some internal reevaluation, renewing, and forgiving of yourself and forgiving of others.
Yep.
And communication.
Yes. And remember that yesterday is a closing door. You don't live there anymore.
Yes.
You need to say goodbye to where you've been and tell your heart to beat again.
Yes.
That's a verse from that song, and it just spoke to us because we had to close that door of yesterday because that's where we have been, but that's not where we're going. God has so much more for us, and He has so much more for you. Be encouraged.
So, till next time, man, we are Blended and Winning.
Yes, and so are you.
And my name is Joaquin Loper. This is my beautiful wife, Stacy Loper. And we truly hope that this topic is going to touch someone today.
Yes.
If you watch this video and you know someone that may need to see it, please share it.
Yes.
Please reach out to us. Please ask us questions. You can find us, of course, on Facebook at Blended and Winning. And you can also reach us on YouTube at Joaquin and Stacy Loper. We look forward to hearing your comment, reading your comments, and hearing your feedback. And we want to just tell you that once again, we love you.
Yes. And I want to tell my husband while we're here, thank you for loving me through all of the pain, through all of the chaos that I brought into this relationship, this marriage, because it took for you to take a step back and say, you know what? She's going to be okay. And I needed that encouragement from you to be right here today where we are. And so I thank you for that. I do.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
She loved me. But anyway, and please understand that wasn't scripted. This is something that was from our heart, and that's needed. Mm-hmm. Man, spouses need to hear that they're appreciated. So even if you're not where you want to be in the marriage right now, or you've been through something, just let the other person know that you appreciate them. Tell them your heart. Just don't tell them the bad things. Tell them the good things, okay?
Absolutely.
So that's a little tidbit of extra for next week. But we look forward to seeing you again next week. Once again, we love you.
Yes, and we are blended and winning.
And so are you. Until next time.
Bye, y'all.
Love you.